Live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Welcome to Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Nibbler, showing another live shot there. That is from our ski bowl camera, taking a look at Mount Hood. A little bit of clouds there up above, but you can see all the blue skies that we are getting here in the Northwest right now, which I welcome over the rain that we had. Hello, I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now. We are live streaming on our website, on our apps, on all of our on mobile devices, all of those places, and of course on Facebook and YouTube. So thanks for joining us here. Appreciate you being a part of the show. And if you have comments or questions, feel free to drop those in or share the show with others. So we are going to be talking about something right now, though, that is happening with the Oregon Air National Guard, and that is flights that are going to be happening over, or are happening, night flights over Portland and the Northwest. So these are F-15s that are flying over us. You hear them, and you wonder, what is it that's going on with that? Well, that's what I wanted to find out, too. I wanted to find out about what those flights are, what these training missions are all about, and, of course, just talk about the Oregon Air National Guard and everything that goes on with it. And so, to do so, we have joining us right now Lieutenant Colonel Jeff Thomasson from the 123rd Fighter Squadron, the Director of Operations for them. Jeff, thank you very much for being here.
Hey, Greg, thanks. Great to be here.
So a lot of things that we just brought up there just in that intro, but I think to start off, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and your role there with the Oregon Air National Guard?
Yeah, so I'm the Director of Operations for the Fighter Squadron, so kind of work on making sure we have the right number of jets to fly, work with our maintenance group to ensure that the jets are available and ready, and then plugging those into allow for the pilots to fly and get all the currencies and training that they require so that we can stay ready to do our job.
And how many jets or pilots do you have there out at the National Guard?
We have a little more than 30, sometimes, a little more than 30 pilots on our books with us today. Yeah.
Nice. And so to give a little bit more context as far as what you cover, I guess maybe what the region is or what all you cover there with the National Guard here in Portland.
Yeah, so here at the 142nd Wing and the 120th Fighter Squadron, we are just kind of the local arm of the Air National Guard. This is where we're based. We live all in the in the community. We work here at Portland Air National Guard Base, and our job is to create F-15 air power. So we have about 1,400 people on base. Maintenance support group, maintenance group, support group. We have fire, cops, our security forces. A whole big team here working to enable the Guard to provide combat power to the nation if it needs it.
And talking about these night flights, the flights that are going to be happening, I don't know how often that happens, but can you explain what it is that you're doing and how this all works, just for, say, if somebody who hasn't heard of this at all before, what it is that you're going to be doing?
Yeah. So this week and several other weeks throughout the winter, mostly, we do a lot of night flying and night training. We're pilots, right? So we need to practice what we do. Some of that is, or most of that's usually during the daytime. You kind of generally hear us taking off around 8:45 and 12:30 or so. But we also have night requirements. So we need to go out and train flying at night. We're BGs. We fight in the dark, we come back. We also have to practice our approaches and landings at night. It's just part of the habits and the skill set that we need to maintain as pilots. This time of year is a great opportunity, and you'll hear us flying more at night in the winter because the days are shorter, so we can do the night takeoffs around 5 o'clock. It's a little bit nicer for us and our families, and also around base here. It gets us home a little earlier, and also tries to keep the noise down around the community. Sometimes in the summer, though, we can't get away from it, but it's Northwest, so it stays late longer, and we're going to be pushing those night takeoffs longer or later in the day during the summertime. So that's why you'll probably hear us. We flew some nights in November. We're flying this night week here in December, and we'll do it again in January, February, to try to get as much of our night training cycle accomplished in the winter months as we can.
And when you take off, and I realize too, there may be things you can't say. So if I'm asking a question that obviously, you don't have to answer. But for like when you take off from here, how far do you go when you're doing on these training missions? How far is the coverage area?
Yeah, you bet. So we take off out of Portland, and generally we go out over the Pacific Ocean and train over the water. It kind of minimizes the noise we're making around, right? It also is wide open airspace where not as many airliners are flying. So we have a big, almost like 200 by 100 chunk of airspace. It's off the coast, kind of out past Tillamook. And that's where we generally go. If the weather's bad, it's the Northwest, we get the winter storms. We also have backup training airspace when, Klamath Falls, Oregon, has got another Air National Guard base there, Kingsley Field. So we'll go and use their training airspace, which is over the kind of the higher east coast or east side of the state desert. and also kind of out of the way. But those are the two places we go. As far as what kind of training we're doing, we're just trying to maintain our air-to-air proficiency. So the F-15C is an air-to-air fighter. So we're going out there and we'll have we call blue air, and then we'll have our red air, which is our adversaries, and we'll be training against each other. Just sometimes we're doing upgrade, so trying to make our newer pilots more experienced and get them more qualified. Other times we're flying with pilots that already have all of their currencies and all of their training accomplished, and they just need to maintain those proficiency.
And that's looking at example right here. These are the jets that you're flying, right?
Yeah, you bet. That's the F-15C, which we are happy to fly. But again, kind of exciting news for the Air National Guard, the Air Force in general, and specifically the Portland Air National Guard. We're going to be getting the F-15EX soon. So we're going to be Ops 1, which is like the first unit to get that new airframe from Boeing. And so that's pretty exciting. We're looking forward to seeing that sometime this year.
That's going to be great.
It'll be a replacement for the F-15C. It's going to look it's going to look the same, but it's got kind of a newer engines, newer computers, newer radar, all that good stuff. So it's going to be an exciting upgrade for the squadron and the wing here.
Some better bells and whistles when it comes down to it.
Yeah, more toys,
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure there's a little bit of a battle as far as who gets to train that first, or is that already decided?
We have all the pilots are fighting each other to see who gets to get into first. Yeah, you bet.
And so for the training that's going on right now, is this something that you're going up and doing as well?
Yeah, I'll be flying tonight as well. You bet.
So
each one of our 30 pilots, we require about 6 night flights a year at a minimum. So 30 pilots on 6, 180. That's a lot of night flights we have to knock out.
And just for you personally, obviously, you've worked a very long time to get to this point. But did you want to do this when you were growing up? Did you know I want to be a fighter pilot?
I sure did. My dad worked for Boeing. He was an engineer for those guys. So he was building airplanes, going to air shows the whole time I was, growing up, and got the aviation bug early. It's kind of ebbed and flowed through high school and college. But by the end of my college career, I was definitely motivated to go there. Went to pilot training, was a free instructor for a while, and then I've been flying the F-15 for about 12, 13 years now.
Nice. 12 to 13 years. So is it still the same thrill every time that you get in there? Oh, I think.
It's always awesome. It never gets old. Never gets old. It's a lot of work when you're flying it, right? It's and a lot of training before, after. Like we'll brief for an hour prior to takeoff, and then we'll fly, an hour and a half sortie. Then it's not uncommon for us to debrief for 2 to 5 hours after a sortie, depending on if it's an upgrade, to make sure we get all the lessons learned out of the training we accomplished.
Looking at it from the Portland area, what's the interaction between the Portland community and the Oregon Air National Guard base here in Portland?
So we try to be as open to the public as we can, right? It's a military installation, so it's a little difficult to open the doors all the time. But we've, like last year, we flew at the Portland, the Hillsborough Air Show and the McMinnville Air Show. We generally have jets there, and there are pilots out that are, happy to talk to anybody who wants to talk with us, learn more about the Air National Guard. The wing is a big player in like Oplan Smoky during the summer, right? So when the forest fires, you go and activate guardsmen to go help fight fires, and any other time that they need assistance. So, we're here to help and serve as required.
Fantastic. Well, I have one more question. This may not be something you can answer, but this is just a personal curiosity. Okay, when say military jets fly over like a big event or a sporting event, how does that happen? What's the process like to even have that happen?
So there's actually a website you can go to. I don't know it off the top of my head, but you can go and sign up on this the Air Force SAFPA website, and then you essentially request an event, and it'll go through some wickets to see if it gets supported or not, and then if it makes it on the approved list, then it goes out to squadrons across the United States to pick up. Or have it, not really want to, that's the wrong word. It's if they're able to support it. We're just busy a lot of the time, but we try to support as many overflights as we can. Generally, we'll try to do that on Veterans Day, Memorial Day, 4th of July at a minimum.
Makes sense. All right. I always wondered that, so that's good to know. Well, Jeff, anything else that you think people should know too, just about what's coming up and with these flights, and do you get people that call in that are concerned or anything like that? Anything we can alleviate with this interview?
Yeah, hopefully we're not causing any too much consternation out there. But yeah, if you have any issues, you can always call the Portland National Guard. If you look at 142nd Wing, there's a public affairs contact there. And if you have any questions, concerns, you're always welcome to reach out. Send us an email, a phone call, or a text, and we'll get back to you.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us here today. I really appreciate it, learning a little bit more about it and just finding out what you do. And thank you very much for your service and everything you're all doing out there at the base.
Yeah, you bet, Greg. It's great talking with you today. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Have a good one.
You too. Bye.
And so there we go. This is, again, what we get to do here with Fox 12 Now is we get to have these kind of longer form interviews, finding out about things going on in the community, including flights over the city, those night flights. I learned a lot with that interview. Maybe some of you already knew that stuff, maybe not. So great to have them on there and appreciate their ability to make that happen. So thank you for joining us here for Fox 12 Now. Again, I'm Greg Debler. If there's breaking news that happens between 1 p.m. and 4 p.m., I'll be here with that coming to you live. So you know you can always go back wherever you're watching me right now. Go to there, and as soon as we have the information, we will get that out to you. If you have an idea for a topic, maybe a deeper dive on one of our news stories, feel free to send that in. You can send me an email, fox12now@kptv.com. Of note, tomorrow we're going to be talking to Adrian, who's one of our reporters here. We're going to discuss with him about a story that he did about the Sweet Home water and the reservoir up there, and about what's happening with that. So we're going to do a bit of a deeper dive on that at 1 p.m. So make sure you mark your calendar for that. And of course, we'll have a lot more happening here as well. So thanks for tuning in. I'm going to sign off for now. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now.